4. The four beasts of Daniel. Daniel 7. 4. ESV. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Then as I looked its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and the mind of a man was given to it. In our present time, the lion is symbolic of England, and the eagle represents the United States. The eagle wings tearing itself from the lion represents the US tearing itself away from England in 1776, and becoming an independent nation. This lion man, that comes from England, is the Antichrist. Daniel 7. 5. ESV. And behold, another beast, a second one, like a bear. It was raised up on one side. It had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And it was told, arise, devour much flesh. The bear is symbolic of Russia. This bear is raised up on one side as it is chewing its own ribs, like a dog chews its side. These 3 ribs in the bear's mouth represent the 3 major revolutions that Russia has gone through. This bear has consumed much flesh in the process, and has cost many people of Russia their lives. In these revolutions and wars, Russia has gone from a monarchy to communism, and now is a republic. Daniel 7. 6. ESV. After this I looked, and behold, another, like a leopard, with 4 wings of a bird on its back, and the beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. The 2 sets of wings, and the 4 leopard heads, represent a coalition of 6 countries coming together. This occurred with the Treaty of Rome in 1957, which formed the organization which was known as the European Economic Community. Its 6 founding members are Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, France, West Germany and Italy. Modern-day Belgium, Luxembourg and Netherlands still have the 3 leopards on their coat of arms. Germany has the eagle and the other 2 countries have it in their past history. Italy the Roman eagle and France's Aquitaine leopard. The EEC grew into the European Union, which is run by 4 main decision-making institutions. These institutions collectively provide the EU with policy direction, and play different roles in the law-making process. They are the European Parliament, the European Council, the Council of the European Union and the European Commission. These 4 institutions make up 4 of the 7 heads of the 7-headed end-time beast. Daniel 7:23, NIV. He gave me this explanation. The 4th beast is a 4th kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down, and crushing it. The only kingdom that consumes the whole world is the United Nations. This is the 4th beast, which is different from the other 3 beasts, as it is a world governing body, and is not a nation like England, Russia, and EU France. 5. Formation of the United Nations. Daniel 7:23, NIV. He gave me this explanation. The 4th beast is a 4th kingdom that will appear on the earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down, and crushing it. Daniel is told these 4 beasts represent kingdoms, and this 4th beast will devour and consume the whole world, which the United Nations does. We are in the end times, and there will be no other kingdoms after this one, except the Millennium Kingdom of Christ. Daniel 7:11-12, NIV. Then I continued to watch because of the boastful words the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain, and its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts had been stripped of their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time. We are told that when the 4th beast that consumes the whole world is gone, the UN, the other 3 beasts will still be around for a while. So these 3 beast kingdoms still exist as nations within the United Nations. Daniel 7, 2-3, NIV. Daniel said, in my vision at night I looked, and there before me were the 4 winds of heaven churning up the great sea. 4 great beasts, each different from the others, came up out of the sea, and Revelation 13, 1-2, NIV. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. Daniel and Revelation both tell us that these beasts come from the sea. Daniel shows these beasts separate. Revelation shows these beasts joined together forming the 4th beast. They are both describing the same end-time beast, and Revelation shows that the dragon will also join this fourth beast, which is the UN. Revelation 13, 1 and 2, ESV. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. And Revelation 17:15, NIV. Then the angel said to me, the waters you saw, where the prostitute sits, are peoples, multitudes, nations and languages. This beast rises from the sea of humanity. Revelation shows the lion, the leopard, and bear all joined together, and then we see the dragon representing China joining this structure. This composite beast represents the United Nations. It has a lion's mouth, which suggests the United Nations will have the United Kingdom speaking for it. This United Nations beast has 7 heads, which are the United Kingdom lion head, the Russian Federation bear head, the People's Republic of China dragon head, and the 4-headed leopard heads, representing the 4 governing bodies in the EU. 6. The woman and the 10 horns. Revelation 17, 3-5, ESV. And he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with golden jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations, and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead was written the name of mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and of earth's abominations. We know that the 7 heads represent 4 of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, and they are the English lion, the Russian bear, the Chinese dragon, and the 4-headed leopard representing the EU, which is run by 4 main institutions or heads, and is represented by France on the UN Security Council. By far the greatest abomination ever created are the nuclear bombs, which can destroy the whole world, and this type of bomb was first birthed in the US. Now, we will identify the woman and the 10 horns. Revelation 17:18, ESV. And the woman that you saw is the great city that has dominion over the kings of the earth. The kings of the earth meet in the UN building, which is located in New York City, where the Statue of Liberty, the woman, is located. The US rides the UN and pays the most towards the UN's upkeep. The US is simply the largest superpower in the world, spending more on its military power than any other country, and does dominate world affairs. Revelation 17:9, ESV. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated, and Jeremiah 51:24-25, ESV. I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea before your very eyes, for all the evil that they have done in Zion, declares the Lord. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, which destroys the whole earth. I will stretch out my hand against you, and roll you down from the crags, and make you a burnt mountain. This woman is also described as sitting on 7 mountains. Mountains can represent large nations, which are these 7 heads. Revelation 17:12-13, NIV. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast. On the United Nations Security Council, there are 5 permanent members, which are the United Kingdom, EU represented by France, People's Republic of China, the Russian Federation, and the United States, who dominates. Also on the UNSC, there are 10 temporary officials of nations, from the 5 regions which represents the rest of the world. These 10 temporary positions on the council last 2 years, with 5 nations sitting on the council and 5 in training, and after a year, those sitting on the council will be moved out. The 5 that were in training will sit on the council, and then another 5 nations will be chosen for training. These are the 10 temporary kings who give their authority to the UNSC, which runs the UN beast. Revelation 17:15-16, ESV. And the angel said to me, the waters that you saw, where the prostitute is seated, are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute, They will make her desolate and naked, and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. The United States, besides having people from all over the world living in that country, have military bases throughout the world, sits on many waters. It is the UN beast and the 10 non-permanent member nations that will destroy this woman, representing the US, who rides the UN beast. Revelation 18, 2-3, ESV, and he called out with a mighty voice, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling place for demons, a haunt for every unclean spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird, a haunt for every unclean and detestable beast. For all nations have drunk the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth have grown rich from the power of her luxurious living. Babylon the Great, the US, the largest producer of sexual immorality, that is porn, is destroyed, and those that have grown rich from trade with the US are in despair at the fall of the US. Revelation 18, 4-8, ESV. Then I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you take part in her sins, lest you share in her plagues, for her sins are heaped high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Pay her back as she herself has paid back others, and repay her double for her deeds. Mix a double portion for her in the cup she mixed, as she glorified herself and lived in luxury. So give her a like measure of torment and mourning, since in her heart she says, I sit as a queen, I am no widow, and mourning I shall never see. For this reason her plagues will come in a single day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be burned up with fire. For mighty is the Lord God who has judged her. This Queen Liberty will be destroyed in one day, and God tells his people to get out of there, otherwise they will also suffer the destruction and plagues of what is coming there, which can only be described as a nuclear strike and its aftermath, as it is burned in one day. Revelation 18, 17-18, ESV. For in a single hour all this wealth has been laid waste, and all shipmasters and seafaring men, sailors and all whose trade is on the sea, stood far off, and cried out as they saw the smoke of her burning, What city was like this great city of Babylon, located by the sea, where the Statue of Liberty is holding the cup of abominations, is destroyed in an hour, and seems this city will be the first to go, as those trading with New York City have time to wail about its destruction, before the rest of the US goes up in flames.